Guys, you must have seen the Made in China mark on most of the products you buy, right? But what comes in your mind when you see that mark? Cheap quality. Now, over the past 4 decades, China has transformed from one of the poorest economies to the second largest economy in the world. Now, many data analysts and the world leaders are saying that China's golden era has come to an end. In this video, we will deep dive into the growth, crash, and most importantly, comeback strategy of China. Now, people, the growth story of China dates back to 1978 when China started liberalizing its economy for the outer world. After 1990, urbanization was at its peak as more and more giants like Apple were setting up their manufacturing units in China because of cheap labor, tax rebates being provided in SEZ, also known as Special Economic Zones, and big giants like Evergrande and Country Garden took place in China for building homes for this shifting population. Interestingly, these giant real estate companies started contributing a lot to the Chinese economy. They helped in increasing the tax collection, gave a new way of investment to investors, and also helped in building the infrastructure, which is the most important pillar of any economy. China's economic growth from 1990 to 2020 was freaking 9% in spite of the economic crisis in 2008 when whole world was in distress. It looked like China was on its way to become the next superpower after the US. But during 2023 to 24, China's growth rate was just 4%. Now, the question over here is what the hell went wrong with China that its growth rate got almost halved in just 3 years? Now, the story revolves around 2020 when COVID-19 struck the world. Revenue of Evergrande, the most valuable real estate company in the world, had fallen from $69.7 billion in 2020 to $31.68 billion in 2022. It got halved in just 2 years. Its debt-to-revenue ratio also got increased, and the company even defaulted on $300 billion in loan. Finally, the Hong Kong court in January 2024 ordered its liquidation. Banks and consumers of this company had to suffer billions of dollars in losses. Another example is of Country Garden, which is the China's largest property developer. It started facing liquidity crunch during the same period when having a staggering debt of $205 billion. It is now undergoing liquidation after a petition was filed against it. These incidents have sent shockwave through industry, signaling deep and systematic issues within the China's real estate sector. Due to the crash of these big companies, consumer confidence on these companies got shattered and the demand for homes plummeted to a state where the investors started incurring loss instead of making profits for their investments in these big giants. Moreover, young generation has a notion that raising a child is expensive in China. Population of China is also aging. Data shows that today there are 5 workers for 1 to retire, but the projection is being made that in 2050, 1.5 workers will be there for 1 to retire. Wages of Chinese labor is increasing too, deteriorating their competitiveness. This is making the situation from bad to worse. These reasons have contributed to the slow economic growth of China. Now people, the question is that what the hell Xi Jinping is doing to protect its economy from shattering? Xi Jinping has moved the focus from being famous for copying from the West to being an innovative and a self-sufficient economy. After the sanctions by the US government, China is now bullish on providing its companies with a great environment for growth and innovation. A classic example of this is the Huawei company, which faced allegations from the US and its allies and was sanctioned from buying semiconductors for illegally sending secret information about the US to the Chinese government. It is now focusing on making its own semiconductors to remove their dependence upon American companies. Chinese government is helping them by providing funds. Cherry on the cake, China is also focusing on making Made in China a badge of honor. Keeping in mind this idea, China launched its Made in China initiative in 2015, where focus changed from quantity of products to quality of products by innovation. It is an initiative which strives to secure China's position as a global powerhouse in high-tech industries instead of just focusing on heavy industries. South Korea's Samsung company is a classic example of how promoting technology companies instead of heavy industries can bring in a ton of customers and also a lot of foreign investment to the country. The aim of this initiative is to reduce the dependence of Chinese companies on imported technology and invest in its own innovations so that Chinese companies can compete not only domestically but also globally. And moreover, so that the domestic companies don't have any fear of being sanctioned by US or any other country. China is focusing on the three main sectors because they represent the future. The first one is the electric vehicles, second is the solar panels industry, last but not the least is the lithium-ion batteries industry. Now we will talk what has China done in these three sectors. BYD, also known as Build Your Dreams Company, is the China's best-selling car brand in the EV market and is on the track to surpass Tesla in terms of sales as China holds a dominance over materials like nickel, cobalt, and lithium-ion batteries, which are essential in the making of EVs. Coming to the solar panels industry, Golden Concord Holdings Technology is the world's second leading producer of polysilicon, which is a key material used to make solar panels. The company is producing granular silicon on a very large scale, which requires lower production cost, lesser energy, and has a lower carbon footprint compared to traditional raw silicon. The result is that prices of solar panels in China are decreasing and the sales are on a boom. This is also driving the green energy wave in China. Most important of these industries is the lithium-ion batteries industry. Now every economy knows that after the era of oil, the era of lithium-ion batteries will come. Any economy which will produce lithium-ion batteries on a large scale will have the power to influence world decisions. China is a market leader in lithium-ion batteries all across the globe. It helps in reducing carbon footprint as they don't emit carbon dioxide as other car does. This has provided advantage to China in reducing its cost of EVs and making other countries dependent on China for supply of these batteries. Now let's talk about what are the lessons for India. No matter what happens to your country, if the godfather of the country, that is the government of the country, is willing to take bold steps, the economy will definitely grow. The second lesson is that the workforce is the foundation of any economy. If the workforce is educated, the economy's comeback is assured. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.